Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR today, Thursday morning, May 26th, May 27th even, 2021. The man they call Meathead, along with Matthew Thomas. Good morning, Matthew. I'm sorry I had my days thrown off there. It's May 27th.
That's right. Get with the program, Meathead. May 26th was yesterday.
Would have been yesterday. And you would think I would care enough to actually put a pause in there and redo it so I could edit it. I'm not going to be re-editing it.
You don't have a day-by-day calendar on your desktop?
No, I have one on the desktop that I doodle on when I make phone calls on my rotary phone.
Yeah, that goes pretty well with your Rolodex.
Yes, I've got a mental Rolodex. Well, we'll get to what's in my mental Rolodex in a second, but let's talk about the sponsor, Matthew Thomas. You get another opportunity to tell us who our sponsor is.
Collar and Elbow
we only have 20 minutes.
collarandelbowbrand.com. If you want to wear the summer's latest fashion wear and feel comfortable while you're doing it, head on over to collarandelbowbrand.com. Save 10% by entering promo code, wait for it, Linda K. That's LINDAKAY.
I thought my collar and elbow mirror hoodie was being put away for the season. You know, we had some 80-degree temperatures here in the Fox Valley, just north of Milwaukee. Matthew Thomas, last night, it dipped into the 40s. Guess what I have on again?
Oh, well, that's right on time, too, because he is your new TNT champion.
Who? Miro?
Uh-huh.
No, I said the mirror, not Miro. Very well played, sir.
Oh, my goodness. That would have been funny if I had legitimately not thought you said Miro.
Well, let's talk about something that's kind of funny. We've got one bit of news, well, actually two bits, and they're both related to each other. Let's talk about the legitimate portion of the news. WWE has already announced who is replacing Adnan Virk on Raw as the play-by-play, and his name is Jimmy Smith. Matthew, have you heard his work?
I can't say that I have.
He's done some UFC, he's done some MMA. Jimmy Smith will be on Raw Monday night. It has not been made official yet, but the word on the street is that Jimmy Smith will be taking over on Monday Night Raws. So your thoughts on instantly going with another outsider that has not covered professional wrestling?
I feel like it's a risk. Hopefully, I don't know. I don't have familiarity with the guy, but in a lot of these situations, especially when you have somebody that, when you have somebody that is there for 7 weeks, you really kind of start to wonder, are they setting them up for success? And hopefully that's the case with Jimmy Smith, but I guess we'll see starting next Monday.
We will see indeed. So Jimmy Smith now taking over the play-by-play duties on what used to be the number one show in WWE, Monday Night Raw. I wanted to segue from us making the joke and having a ha-ha moment into this next bit of news, but there was no way, so we had to get the legitimate news out of the way. Not that this is not legitimate, but this, holy smokes. Adnan Virk, we just talked about him, they mutually agreed to part ways, right? WWE and, Adnan Virk had just decided, look, it's not working out, okay? It's time to move on. Adnan Virk has already got a new job offer on the table, and it is from the adult entertainment website Cam Soda. Adnan Virk has been offered to call MMA play-by-play at their next event. Matthew, listen to this card. The Wild MMA Fight Circus Volume 3 event will feature a Siamese boxing match with tied together two-man teams, Indian leg wrestling between female Russian fighters, a Muay Thai fight inside of a phone booth, a human cockfighting bout with karate versus taekwondo, an intergender Muay Thai fight, plus a 2-on-1 main event with former UFC fighter Will Chope taking on local fighters Bank and No Money and more. Bob Sapp, legendary MMA fighter as well, will be in the house. I don't know what to say.
I think you just sold me.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, and here's the thing. If you would like me and the man they call Meathead to cover this, you know what, listening audience, if you'd like to pick up the tab on the purchase of this and whatever donation,
which will be on Matthew's profile, not the man they call Meathead's profile.
Whatever donation you would like to send to our way, me and the man they call Meathead will be happy to do a post-show review of this.
Wow. I mean, you know what? I'm curious about the Indian leg wrestling. I'm curious about the Siamese boxing match with the tied together two-man teams. I do not want to watch human cockfighting with karate versus taekwondo. I'm not into that. I mean,
Yeah,
Matthew, I know what you do on Thursdays. I know that's you call that Thursday, but
yeah,
that's just
yeah.
not my cup of
I'm
tea,
not
man.
necessarily sure what that entails, but I mean, I'm sold on the Muay Thai in the phone booth.
Muay Thai in a phone booth, yeah.
Yeah.
So a Muay Thai fight inside of a phone booth. And again, who still has a phone booth? I thought they were all extinct by now. And
Have you seen my Facebook profile picture?
is it you in a phone booth?
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, actually, not a booth, payphone, but you can pretend there's a booth around it.
Okay. Well, I just did watch the Blues Brothers today, and they were both in a phone booth when Terry Fisher blew them up with a M79 flamethrower. So
they don't like peanut butter and cheese on their dry toast.
we haven't heard from you, Matthew. We talked yesterday morning, and we didn't get an update. Peanut butter and cheese on toast. Go.
It's not offensive. I'll say that. A lot of people might think it's offensive. It's not offensive. The first time I did it, it was not in the true spirit of the actual sandwich. It was like kind of a mixed concoction of almond butter and sharp cheddar cheese.
Okay.
However, it kind of worked. And I actually tried it proper. I tried the American cheese with actually smooth peanut butter. It's not bad. What I will say, it stretches the life of your peanut butter sandwich. So if you want to give your peanut butter sandwich some more substance and make it feel like more of an entree, the cheese does help it. Now, I'm not going the route that it necessarily, overly enhances the flavor, at least not any of the versions that I've put together. But
How many different versions have you put together?
I've only had two, but I'm intrigued enough that I think there's some tweaks to it that I can make and actually make it work, man. I'm toying around with putting a little bit of honey on it.
Okay, that might work for you. Now, we talked about the toasted bread. I normally don't do the toasted bread. It is literally a piece of honey wheat Sara Lee, crunchy peanut
Yeah.
butter, chunky peanut butter, and a slice of American cheese.
Interesting. So you're not going toasted, huh? I need to try that variation. I need to try the untoasted variation.
See, I prefer, this is just me, but I prefer cold stuff. I don't like warmed. So, when you get to a Subway or you get to a, Jimmy John's or any place like that, don't toast my sandwich. Give me cold.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, especially if you've got, if I think it needs to be uniform, like that's the problem with the toasted stuff, man. You got toasted stuff going on other cold stuff. It's not uniform.
Well, I'll contradict you there because that's what everybody calls in to listen, not for wrestling talk, but how do we eat our sandwiches? I will contradict you there. The best sandwich McDonald's ever made was called the McDLT. Hot side hot, cold side cold. It's you got a double container.
They separated them, right? Yeah,
yes.
Like it was like a styrofoam container or something.
Yes.
Actually, yeah, I saw that on a list not too long ago.
Yeah, McDLT. So the hot stayed hot. You had the meat and the buns on one side, and you had the cold lettuce and the cheese and tomato on the other side.
Interesting.
McDLT, that was the best sandwich they ever made.
If you ever want an interesting jog down memory lane, there's some pretty good lists of discontinued McDonald's and Pizza Hut items cruising around on the internet.
I think they need to discontinue Pizza Hut in general. Sorry, we weren't going to get that sponsorship anyway, so let us move on. And go right back to Adnan Virk. You know what? Go ahead. Give us a comment, give us a share, give us a like. Tell us what you think if we should actually review that. I know Matthew Thomas is up for watching that. Maybe he can get some people over at his place, while he's trying to figure out how to drive in the winter in a sports car. So I don't know.
I'll have a viewing party.
Okay. Well, yeah, the viewing part will not include myself. But let us know what you guys think. Now, let us move.
Well, and here I want to throw this out there too. If Cam Soda's listening, we'll be happy to undercut Adnan. We'll do it for half of that.
To be honest, if it's a paid gig, I'd probably have to do it.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
I'd call that. I mean, he kicked him right in the nuggets. That's my line right there. Copyright the man they call Meathead.
Boom.
All right. Let's talk Dark Side of the Ring. That's what we had mentioned we were going to talk about. And Matthew, you specifically said you wanted to be able to do the Collision in Korea. A quick summary of what this is. Dark Side of the Ring covered the Collision in Korea. It was a match set up by Antonio Inoki of New Japan Pro Wrestling fame and former politician in Japan as well. I think he was the governor at one point.
I don't know. It was interesting. The party he was in, it was like Peace and Sport Party, which I found a very interesting name.
That might have been the department he worked, not the party. It might have been a department. But we'll go back and watch it again.
The party, yeah.
We'll go back and watch it again. But Antonio Inoki of New Japan Pro Wrestling fame, who's trained multiple talents over the years, and Eric Bischoff of WCW. Eric was this is pre-NWO, and Eric Bischoff was had just become president, I believe. And what Bischoff was looking to do was expand the name of WCW, right? And this is one of the things he thought of. He literally, in his words, hell, I've never been to North Korea. Why don't we try it? Antonio Inoki at first asked can you get Muhammad Ali? That's huge because the champ was still, around at the time.
Yeah.
His disease had taken him, to a point where he wasn't communicating as well, but he could still move around and communicate.
This was right around Muhammad Ali Atlanta Olympics era, I believe. Yeah.
Yes, because I think it was 90. Yeah, it was 95, 96, around there. Might have been 94. I don't remember. But so Matthew, first thoughts before you got into the episode of Collision in Korea, did you know about this?
Never heard of it. I had, maybe heard something in passing, just a one-off comment about North Korea, but this was practically brand new to me.
This had to be earlier, I think, than say, the 97, 98 era where they brought in LOD 2000, because one of the people that were involved in this and a really prominent figure in this documentary was Hawk of the Legion of Doom. Also featured in this was Too Cold Scorpio, who apparently is a gangster. All right. I mean, this dude is just a straight up street thug gangster. I mean, he's
which would have been Scorpio. This would have actually been his WCW run pre-Flash Funk, right? So we had to have been probably 94, 95 here.
Yeah, I would think so as well. Oh, Flash, you're so funky. Sorry, I don't do it as well as Damian Nelson used to do. That was one of Damian's guys. Also featuring Scott Norton, before Scott Norton was part of the NWO, and when he was, I think he was, what was he, a bare knuckle fighter, or was he an arm wrestling champion?
Arm wrestling champion, I believe. Yeah, yep.
And he was over in Japan working as an arm wrestling champion. So the long and short of it, they reach out to Eric Bischoff, Antonio Inoki does, and says, hey, let's put together a peace, some sort of peace festival in North Korea. Now, North Korea, as you guys know, or maybe don't know, North Korea is a little funny about outsiders, especially people from the West. And it's when they bring people over. Now, we've dealt with some of these, say Middle East shows, the Saudis and, these other shows that have gone on where they're used for optics and public relations.
Right.
They pay just exuberant amounts of money because the money comes from the government, and these are communist countries. All right. Yep. So the people don't really have a choice. All the stuff and all the work that they do goes to further the government. So they've just paid enormous amounts of money to bring these people over. And, they were going to get them to say, oh, how great this is. And, I'm surprised they didn't ask them to denounce America at some point. We finally get this all agreed to. He gets Ali on. They were supposed to get Hulk Hogan. Hulk goes, I don't know about that, brother. One of the smartest things Hulk Hogan's ever done. I mean,
100%. 100%.
Ric Flair was asked to go along too. I think Rick was a little pissed that he was the number 2 choice to Hogan. So it had to be post 94 because Hogan was in WCW at that time. All right. And they had their Bash at the Beach match with Shaq, I think 94, when Hogan came in. So, yeah, it was odd. Take us up to the part where they get to North Korea, Matthew.
Yeah, so that would have been, I believe, where was it? They don't know where they flew out of, but they
Out of Japan. I think they were picking up a bunch of New Japan Pro Wrestling guys.
Yeah, so they flew from somewhere to Japan, and Japan was where they met up with Muhammad Ali, right? And who proceeded to perform magic tricks for the boys.
That was fantastic.
Wasn't
because you have Muhammad Ali, probably the greatest boxer of all time, maybe 1 and 2 with Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
And you've got Ali just having a good time. And Ali's a big bring people together kind of guy. Yeah. He might not be able to talk as much anymore, but you're meeting Muhammad Ali, dude. It's like having Babe Ruth tag along with you. It's like having Abraham Lincoln go, "Hey, do you guys mind if I sit down at your table?"
And it sounds like pretty, normal transportation to Japan, and from Japan to North Korea, it was, I believe, in North Korea, military transport.
Yeah.
And so that's where the plane ride got a little bit sketchy and non-glamorous. I think Flair had some issues with the arrangements.
And speaking of plane rides, and we talked about this yesterday off air, Matthew, I'm going to have you bring up the point because you're the one that said it.
Yeah.
Dark Side of the Ring is going to talk about another plane ride that happened in World Wrestling Entertainment involving one guy who was on both of these flights. Matthew, talk to us.
Yeah, if you watch this episode, one of the more well-behaved individuals that seemingly did not cause a stir was none other than Ric Flair. Pretty much absent from any shenanigans that were reported during the whole process, which I found extremely interesting because just the idea of Ric Flair in North Korea does not sound like a good idea at all.
Not only Ric Flair in North Korea, Ric Flair on a plane with a bunch of the boys, Ric Flair on a flight that's very long and he's got to entertain himself.
Yeah.
I mean, do you see what I'm saying here?
100%.
And Ric Flair was the controlled one.
Yeah.
The behaved one. What is wrong with this flight that Ric Flair is the one that's the adult on the flight?
Exactly. My goodness.
Some of the other people that were on this flight, obviously Scott Norton, you had Ric Flair, you had Too Cold Scorpio, you had Hawk from the Legion of Doom. Chris Benoit was on this flight as well, and some other New Japan Pro Wrestling talents. It was exactly what you would think going into a communist country, but a lot more. So the subplot to this whole entire thing is apparently Too Cold Scorpio and Hawk had an issue with each other. And this thing, seriously, was getting worse and worse by the minute. I love the storytelling in Dark Side of the Ring because they kept going back and forth between the two threads of communist country, 3 threads really, communist country wrestling show, Scott Norton could die today, and Too Cold Scorpio is going to try to kill Hawk.
Yeah. And he ultimately fashions, some chopsticks into a shank?
Shiv, metal chopsticks into a shiv, and he's got Benoit in his room going, "Don't kill anybody." I would hate for that to happen. I say that in jest, but not really. But it's ironic that they've got Chris Benoit in a room with Too Cold Scorpio talking about not killing people.
Yeah, who seemed to step in to prevent something very bad from happening there. So my goodness. And like I said, I'd never seen much stuff on Too Cold Scorpio, so not necessarily pegging him for attempted murder and a flight to North Korea, but my goodness, that's what we got.
And let's talk about the size difference. What is Too Cold Scorpio? Maybe a 6-footer?
Sounds about right.
What do you think Hawk is from Legion of Doom? I gotta say 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah. Sounds about right. About right.
Because Animal, Laurinaitis, he was the smaller of the two, and I've stood toe-to-toe with him, and he's about 6 foot.
Yeah.
So, again, you go back and forth. So let's wrap up the Too Cold Scorpio and Animal thing, or the Hawk thing. Dude, he said he literally started pulling his eyeball out of his head, that he had his eyeball. This isn't any Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio stuff. This is legit. He almost pulled out his damn eyeball.
My goodness. That just, that's rough to think about.
It makes me queasy. But seriously, these guys, and they're holed up in a communist country, and they're looking to kill each other.
Yeah, I think one of the more interesting things of note was Scott Norton when he was talking to his wife on the phone, talking about how he was not impressed with his accommodations, and all of a sudden he gets hauled in for questioning.
Right. They cut off his phone. He hadn't talked to his wife in a couple days. His wife didn't believe him because she thought he's out, with the boys doing whatever. And the North Koreans were literally listening in on the phone calls, cut off all communication, put him in an interrogation room, and they were going to kill him. Scott Norton had said bad things about the North Korean government, and they were so afraid of letting that out. Again, this is a communist country. They were going to kill him. Scott Norton, the big, bad wrestler and arm wrestling champion that he was, said, I'll say whatever I got to say to get out of this, because he thought he was going to die. There was a line from Scott Norton, too, that says, you know what, this is serious business. No wrestler, goofing around on this one. We need to get in, do the job, and get out.
Yeah. And they managed to pack that place, didn't they?
Yeah, it was funny, too, because as they were going to the building, they said, look at the lines of people that are going to come see us. No. They were forced to go.
Yeah. They
were told, these families were required to go. Otherwise, they could end up shot and killed as well. And the government would have killed them with no problem. They said it was the creepiest thing to ever work in a match like this because it was absolute silence. These people had never seen wrestling before. So they were just very focused, very stoic, very not moving. And they literally, I guess on night 2, didn't wake up until Inoki and Flair had their matches.
Yeah, and they said, and I guess there was some North Korea tie-in with Inoki because Inoki's former trainer or mentor, I believe, was actually of North Korean descent.
Right, and was killed in Japan.
Yeah.
When they found out he was North Korean by the Yakuza.
And, that it'd be very interesting to watch the event, especially that main event, to watch this crowd kind of, get invested. And I mean, what does that say for Inoki and Flair to be able to tell a story that, gets these people who are just completely, just don't have any experience with this form of entertainment, it gets a reaction out of them.
Well, I mean, Flair and the rest of the WCW guys had to be aware they're going to go all in as heels. Every one of them has got to be heels there. Even though the North Korean government and the Japanese government, and if you don't know your history, Japan used to control North Korea until the end of World War II.
Well, there you go.
So a lot of just weird, eerie, odd, uncomfortable stuff. So, whew. And Matthew, this isn't long ago. This is only, 25 years ago.
And keep in mind, too, at some point, Eric Bischoff says, you know what? Be nice to take a little jog in the morning in North Korea.
Yeah, this dude is jogging in North Korea, and they see pale-face Eric Bischoff with his jet black hair running, and they said, according to Eric, he said the faces looked at him like he was the devil running down Times Square.
And they're just jumping out of his way. He's terrifying children.
Well, I mean, Eric Bischoff, is a karate master. We remember the angles that he had, with who was he going to beat up? Was it Jay Leno that he was going to beat up with his karate? Oh, no, he was going to beat up Vince, too.
Vince, right? Yeah, yep.
Yeah, I kept calling out Vince McMahon on pay-per-view.
Yes, he did. And, it's interesting listening to that. Apparently, the idea was tossed around at least once for Vince to show up.
It would have been an amazing. It would have had to happen on WCW pay-per-view to, make any difference. Because if it would happen on WWE pay-per-view, it wasn't going to work out. Yeah. Which we saw happen, 3-4 years later. So, Matthew Thomas, they all came back alive.
Yeah, they did.
Hawk even came back with his eyeballs. Scotty Norton wasn't happy with Scorp, as he called him. He says, if he was in his right mind. And even Hawk tried to apologize to Cold Scorpio. And I don't like his attitude towards Hawk when he said that. He said, all right, we'll be good. But if you want to go, we can still go. You want to go when we get back? We can go. This dude still was looking to kill him.
we can do it. We can do it in Japan.
Wow. I mean, seriously, man. I mean, the Yakuza already killed one wrestler. I mean, you think that they won't take care of that? Turn you into a young boy?
Who knows, man? But he was looking to throw down in North Korea.
Wow. Well, that was Dark Side of the Ring Collision in Korea. They got some new episodes coming up soon. I know A&E's documentary is going to be Jake the Snake Roberts this week.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
It'll be a
And
good one. We've heard a lot of Jake's story,
yeah,
right? I mean, because what was it? Beyond the Mat featured Jake a lot, but I'm assuming we're going to get some new stuff, and maybe the resurrection of Jake the Snake Roberts as well.
well, and the interesting thing too is AEW or AE. A&E is what I'm trying to say.
Yes,
They've got it's a new take. I mean, it's a very professional take, but you're getting people interviewed that you haven't gotten before. I mean, with Warrior last week, we got the interviews from his kids. There's been other shows where I mean, nobody's interviewed Marty Jannetty recently. A&E got that, so you're hearing some different perspectives.
Yeah, it was fun to see Marty Jannetty. I mean, yes and no, it was fun, but Marty Jannetty is around, and Marty Jannetty still doesn't like Roddy Piper because he broke up the tag team because Marty Jannetty hasn't been the same since.
Well, I'll tell you one tag team that is not broken up that made their premiere on AEW Dark a couple of nights ago.
Mm-hmm.
Very own senior intern Cal Hero on
Yes, sir.
AEW Dark.
I legit heard Cal yell after Billy Gunn went to beat on him and grabbed him by the head. Ow, my mullet!
That makes sense, man. I mean, when you've got that thing, you got to keep it. You got to keep it in tip-top shape. And when somebody's just going grabbing that thing, man, that right along with your fanny pack, man. Let's talk
about the fanny pack. Billy Gunn put over that fanny pack. When Billy Gunn pointed out to the ref, hey, this dude's wearing a fanny pack in the ring, and Cal Hero tried to sell it, say, hey, it's part of my wrestling gear, it holds up my pants. First thing Tad says is he's wearing a singlet. He doesn't have pants on.
That's true, but nobody knows. I mean, maybe the singlet was a little bit loose, and you actually had to have something to act in the way of a belt, as the fanny pack does. And
so did you see the fanny pack had belt loops, and it does wrap around his waist?
Yeah, no, it was pretty fancy. It was pretty fancy, and that's what purpose it served the whole time. He did not try to reach into the fanny pack to pull out any foreign objects or anything. He kept it nice and clean, and it served the purpose to hold up his singlet.
So Cal Hero with his AEW debut Tuesday night on the AEW Dark, losing in a tag match against the Gunn family, Billy Gunn, and it was Colton, I believe, who they worked with. Cal Hero's worked with Billy Gunn before, obviously, and Billy's been around the area for a long time. Poor Cal. I mean, he consistently has to go up against people named Gunn. He's got Tony Gunn, Billy Gunn, Colton Gunn. Guns N' Roses are coming to town later in the year.
Yeah, that's right. They're playing Summerfest, man. He's probably handicap match versus Axel and Slash, from what I hear.
Well, Axel's going to be in a different weight class, but Slash, is just tall. That's all.
Well, there you go.
Well, wow. What a couple days we've had here. So let's talk tomorrow. We will talk on our Friday morning show. We will get you ready for AEW Double or Nothing. The Casino Battle Royal has everybody named but one. We will speculate on who that mystery person is going to be in the Casino Battle Royal. Plus, we'll run down all the matches, talk about SmackDown for Friday night. So, for Matthew Thomas, I'm the man they call me today. Thanks for stopping by. So long, everyone.